Hello YouTube and welcome back to the Katanagatari reaction series. We're going to be watching Katanagatari episode 8 here today, and I'm looking forward to doing so. Last week, Katanagatari, friggin' weird episode, but I really enjoyed it. Went into a little bit of the production of it and how it's a little bit different from the other episodes, a different, I guess, authorial voice there to show us through that part of the story. And yeah, that's no more Nanami to worry about. We're off to Owari. We're going to see Princess Haite and Amon Zymon and all those kind of characters. I think there's some kind of puppet or something from the preview. Either way, we'll get into it. First, we've got to look at the YouTube comments, which are here. There's only 3 here today, so we'll brush through relatively quickly and jump right into that new content. Saint Yor, first comment here. Glad to see you picked up on the avalanche. Yes, I did. Nanami was responsible, which was surprising to me last week. But then seeing how it all came together and her powers kind of accumulating to the point where she could actually end up killing herself, or getting somebody else to kill her, if that makes any sense. It was satisfying. I liked how those components all came together. It felt very Monogatari, actually, now that I think about it. Like, just things that you wouldn't think going together went together. Next comment here, Ice CP. Very weird episode indeed. When I first watched it, I didn't do any research on why it's so weird. Personally, I like this directing way more than the other episodes because it feels much more Nishio Sin. Did feel somewhat Monogatari, I'll give you that. Also, the art style feels like it's following the character designs of Take, I believe? It is Take, yes. Okay, with Vofan doing the Monogatari stuff. Anyway, I digress. Though admittedly I haven't read the light novels, I have read the Zaragoto novels, which have a similar art and general feel. To be honest, I think this episode was way better in my memory than it was on a rewatch. I think a big problem Katanagatari has is its extremely slow pacing and dialogues that don't feel very meaningful. Nishio has always had extremely long scenes of characters just yapping, but in his other works it felt much more focused. Monogatari's whole point is to have dumb conversations about nothing at all, kinda, and Zaragoto's conversations all discuss various worldviews and philosophies that directly categorize what characters' motives are. Katanagatari feels much less like this. It's still an amazing show, it just really feels like Nishio was struggling to get enough content for each novel. Some episodes, like episode 5, just seem absolutely meaningless apart from a few scenes. I agree with some of this. I agree with this somewhat. I feel like certain episodes they have to just kind of add stuff in there to get to their supposed 50-minute or whatever. I kind of wish we just had a little bit more of a focused version. Like, not all of these episodes need to be the same length, is my point. If you don't have that much to say, don't try to always hit that 49-minute mark. I think I've scarcely found dialogues in Katanagatari between characters that I feel are truly meaningless. Even when the characters are fucking around, there's some hidden shit in there, right? I'm thinking back to episode 2, where they're kind of talking in the desert about catchphrases, and I thought in the moment, yeah, it's kind of ancillary. It didn't really matter. But upon reflection on the episode and kind of the meta narrative in Nishio Sin trying to figure out what he really wants to do here, and like him almost working through the process of finding that catchphrase within the text, yeah, I found a new lens to look at it through and found it meaningful. But you will see, so say I'm, analysis portioning this episode. If I'm not pausing a ton on certain scenes, it probably means that I don't really think that highly of them in a similar way here, that they're not exactly full of meaning. I just think Monogatari's got the benefit of it being a little bit more popular, so it has more eyes on it and more people telling you why certain conversations are meaningful as well. Not necessarily that the conversations themselves are full of that much more meaning. I mean, you can squint at anything and find meaning in it. I'm sure there's some paper on that or something that I could reference if I was smart, but yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying myself, I'll put it that way. And Stefune, last comment here, lap pillow re-education is something we all need in our lives. I can't help but agree. With that, I think we're just going to jump right in. We're in Owari, or going to Owari, finally. It's going to be Princess Haite content. There's going to be Amon Zymon stuff, potentially some backstory there for the kind of interpersonal relationships between those characters. So why does Haite not like Togame? Why does Amon Zymon act the way he does? we're going to figure it out. I think we're going to figure it out, but after I do my shill stuff. So if you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I could do to improve my presentation. Comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you'd like me to follow you back, and the Discord. Join Discord, love Discord, Discord. And yeah, we're jumping into episode 8 of Katanagatari right now. Rightio, I have episode 8 of Katanagatari up there ready to go. 49 minutes and 50 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly. I've got GSK-kun subs, so if you've got those, then you can follow along with the exact subset. If not, there's a picture-in-picture version in the description below for your viewing pleasure. That's up on screen. True, I did that already. And now we're jumping into episode 8 with a 3, 2, 1. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, true. Very true. Yes. Bakemono. Akitobita. I love the haircut, I forgot. Feels similar to that first scene of episode 2 as well. Yeah, official ass city. Nah, don't go in there, little bro. No, they may hear you. Whose house is it? Look at the color scheme. Yep. Oh! What is this opening? I did not expect a new opening. Interesting. This will be a great indicator of where the story's going, I reckon. True. The old me. My sibling. She's cool. Interesting. Yep, okay, money, one. Alright, a few more sword bearers here and there. That was Ho-Ho. Yeah, she's fucking mommy as fuck. Who are you fighting? Oh! Sure, I did not expect that. Oh, reverse lap pillow action. And a ball. Bito Kanazashi. Or Kanzashi. Excuse me. Or Kanzashi? Oh. And you're technically a sword. Yeah, my house. That's why you gotta bite your tongue sometimes. Don't say what you think. Okay, what are you gonna find? Anything? Looks a bit depressing, yeah? Tatami Galaxy? There is a tatami galaxy here? Yeah, house is pretty dead, yeah? And you were prepared for this journey. I'm interested to see if there's going to be another character that shows up here. There you go. Hello. Yeah, very recently we saw you. What causes you two to fight? Well, besides the, you know, the two people controlling you. Okay, weird to call that out, but sure. Princess whatever. Yeah. Very protective of it. Gotcha. Kyoto. Hello. You look very comfortable. What? What? I like the hair. I like the hair. Okay, I see why you think it's funny. Okay. It's right to the point, huh? Yeah, you were being trolled. Okay, that's funny too. They're gonna headbutt. They're both like eviling out. She needs a lift. Lift her feet up. Oh wait, you can't. Ha ha ha. Yeah, two peas in a pod. I still don't really know how it got that way, but let's get down to business. Yeah, true. I'm well aware. I was just trying to be respectful. Amon Zymon. Hence why you make him wear a mask as well. Look, he's very serious. Yeah, what is your end game? Oh. Okay, so dangerous, true. Workshop. At the lake. Well, that'd be a good place to look. Biorigo? Is that our puppet thing? Oh, we're gonna bring our boy? Gun? It's cool. You may have sword, but I have gun. What's he doing? Okay, turtle boy. Temple in Shinano. It's okay. You did a good job. We love Penguin. He's my favorite. Okay. Well, who are we sending to the lake then? Or was that the lake? Turtle and lake go together. Now, lake was Edo or something, right? Lake Fuyo. No, I'm self-conscious about it. No, it's embarrassing. You don't understand. No, she clearly wants it though. No, he can't see. It's fine. Oh no. Not the smirk. Well, yeah, he seems pretty talented in that kind of stuff. Yeah, don't you understand? He reflects Shichika's character. Also, she's in the middle of a city. It's a little bit different than adventuring around. Makes you a little bit harder to get. Alright. Thanks, man. Bye. Just the two of us. Yeah, no, you didn't pick up on the cue. uh yeah. That looks like the thing I saw in the preview. The animation looked really cool in it from memory. Hello. I didn't expect it to have a face. Well, we've already got a couple of doll things in the episode. Kind of like what Hayate was saying about her haircut as well. Love the animation on it already. Very cool. Don't murder the mouse. Whoa. Very mannequin like movements to it and stuff. It's a stealth mission. Come on. I mean, I've never thought stealth was your forte. Also didn't expect it to have a voice. Interesting. It in itself is a sword? Yeah, okay. Gotcha. Is that a midpoint? Not even. Okay. I'm wondering where this episode's going. Because normally we have a little bit more preamble and stuff. True. I don't like Umigami's chances here, because Amon Zaimon's clearly more important. Oh, he dabbed? Maybe he does have a chance. He looks kind of old to me. He's very psycho. What do you do? Turtles do live a long time, good point. Who knows? Entorju? That sounds like a threat. He's funny. I like him. Interesting. Oh, he's cool. He's got that fencing sword. Yeah. Yeah, my man lives in the backwoods. He's got to ever use city slickers. Interesting, okay. So did we just bounce from the fight? I guess so. Okay. Well, yeah, people would not know its worth. Which is also a metaphor that I need to figure out as well. Disguising oneself, right? And their true importance. Hello, gun. Ninja. Aioli core? Aioi. Just a mix of vowels. Whoa. Teleports behind you? Alright, you're in trouble, big dog. Well, wasn't the people of his level? Yeah, seems important. Money wa ho. Damn. He fell off. Alright. Another money we're down. Pickle? One should avoid making things too similar. Well, I'm also talking about Nisio Sin. Cool. Biorigo. Yeah, sometimes. Who is she is crazy. Ooh. Yeah, you're very similar. Yeah, there was the scene where you like lingered looking at her. What? Oh no, I thought he was being. No. Yeah. Like the dog. You deserve that. You overreacted hard. Yeah, I don't know about that alliance, man. Think they're getting their ass beat? They do always play the underdog, it's true. Yeah, thoughts, feelings. Got anything for me? Maybe a flashback? Nope. Oh, he loves it. Yeah, it mustn't have been that difficult. You were kind of happy about it, though. You did bring it up. But I do believe that as well. No, you love it. And he loves it too. Non non Biorigo? Are they maybe mistaken? Yeah, we're bringing this up again too. Interesting. We may be wrong. But she does. Yeah, she just said that. Helping out. I'm thinking though of the former. Interesting. A sword that is a gun, huh? No, you just don't like her very much. I had my suspicions about the guns. Okay. Yeah, be my sunshade. Is he flirting Paulie? He looks super buff here. Do we? I know that saying. Yeah, it's a weird order we're doing it in, right? Like, normally you'd defeat the enemy, then investigate the zone, but not the way we're doing it. She kinda did it. Alright, quick scene. Very quick scene. Lots of interesting shots. It's almost like she's a doll here. Yeah, she's pretty good at that. I mean, other than the part where we, got on a boat and instead of going, hop, skip, and a jump, we went all the way around the country. Alright, don't know about the tickling thing. Ugh. Yeah, if it was to be protecting the workshop, then yeah. Okay. Similar thing than last time. Is that a necessary part of the plan? Because I will. We're digging a fucking hole? Well, if it stays on the same path, that would be a perfect idea, right? Unless it knows. It doesn't know. It doesn't matter. It's better. We need to dig a bigger hole. Yeah. Huh. Okay, I really like that. We're going to get some backstory there that's going to be kind of fucking heartbreaking. Thoughts? Well, yeah. How about a gun? We're going to have to deal with a gun at a certain point. Good point. Well, your last scheme was very easily thwarted. Yeah. Be a good boy. Just do as you're told. It'll make things easier. Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, what's going on with you? You're being fucking weird as shit. Yeah? Okay. You're acting fucking weird, Togame. Like, super weird. Also, no sun today. Interesting. Love the song here, too. Almost very near. Yeah, you could play this in Automata. Hell yeah. Watch out for its 15th arm. What a song. Holy shit. You better get good at dodging. It's doing fucking waterfowl. Hidden mouth sword. I thought she was about to shoot a fucking laser. True. Simultaneously true. Huh. I might talk a little bit more about that, I think. But I've grown. Yeah, pretty Meisei being the worst of those. I'm waiting to see if there's another layer here. Because I got the doll thing. The doll thing's pretty obvious. And what he just said there was... I'm like, well, yeah, that's what the episode's about. That's what the show's about, even by proxy. It's about how you're going to defeat it, I think. What? Huh? It's turning into a spaceship? Oh. It's turning into a helicopter? I don't think we forecast this one, did we, Togame? I don't think we did. Meow. Hmm. Yeah, it's very romantic. You're even blushing. Yare yare. Oh, they'd fucking run out of fuel. And of course, we can't allow any danger to come to it. Interesting. Alright, we'll plug him in. How's that possible? Thoughts? Oh, it was rain, it's fine. I implemented tear ducts into the robot. Yeah, very cool. Okay. Nice scheme, Togame. Solar powered. Gotcha. We were waiting for a day where it was overcast. Yeah, it was more of attrition, a little bit. Okay. He was a little bit worn out, but he wasn't super worn out, I wouldn't say. With the eye as well. Interesting. Okay, you two, get a room. Oh my god. Well, you see a lot of yourself in it. Come on. It's just a sword. It's just a sword. Yeah, I wonder if he was a weirdo. What, the one that made you blush? He does seem a lot bigger, like a lot. Interesting. Okay, here's a robot. Kind of weird. Well, yeah, you maybe see yourself in it as well a little bit. Her report's pretty ramshackle. Okay. Yeah, I thought you did that early in the episode. I don't know if you're going to have a lot of success there. Money wa Hoho seems very important. Alright, we finally find the workshop. But the box may be involved. Looks like it's made of Lego. Huh? Was that full of gold bars? Oh, funny. Yeah. Well, I don't know about Amon Zaimon trying to kill, Hoho. That seems like a bad idea. Okay, it's a bob. I almost maybe thought it was Togame's VA singing there for a second as well. I do love like finding like box of gold bars, like the most important thing you could find when excavating, and it's like toss it aside by looking for something else. Okay, I don't really know where we're going next. There was a couple of swords, but I think that Umigame was going after the same sword that we were going after this episode, so maybe scratch that off the list. There was one that started with an O that we were talking about there just before, so sure. I'll say, yeah, without looking very much deeper, I think the doll stuff is pretty surface level, right? It's like, yeah, it's a doll. It's a mimicry of a human. What else is a sword? What else is Shichika in the show? Where it becomes interesting is when you start comparing it to other characters. So early in the episode where Haite is comparing Togame to a doll, and also Amon Zaimon, and he's really happy about being commanded around and stuff, which is interesting. All right, now what? No, it was good. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, there's a little bit of intrigue next episode. Yeah, a little bit of jealousy. Maybe it's kind of switched a little bit. Tables turned. That'll be a treat, I reckon. Bit of Togame action. And yeah, a little bit of analysis on episode 8 of Katanagatari, in case you didn't know. So yeah, Katanagatari episode 8 on the surface level, not super impressed. It felt like just another Katanagatari episode. I think the most we learnt and the most enjoyment out of the episode I got was the new newish Princess Haite stuff, right? A little bit more establishment of that connection between her and Togame, and if the opening's anything to go by, like their eventual battle, that being Togame and Shichika and Haite and Amon Zaimon. That's going to happen at some point. I don't know when. I don't know if that's our final conflict, because I believe the rest of the series is also building up a eventual conflict between Shichika and Togame, like between each other, I think. There's a few interesting tidbits here and there. I thought the line from the father in the flashback was very interesting. I want to talk about that, as well as there was a couple of other things. Amon Zaimon's always interesting, and his connection to Haite, I think. Just kind of like this, like whenever she says something mean, he's happy. Is he just that way inclined? Does he get some would say pleasure out of that? I don't know. And then yeah, in direct contrast to the Shichika Togame one, which is a little bit more like, I believe in you, I trust you. There's a little bit more mutual connection there. Growth as a human, as opposed to just being used as a tool and being clearly below Haite. Again, we need some origin stuff there. We have Amon Zaimon backstory about his clan getting wiped out, essentially. Is that how he became involved with Haite as well? Interesting stuff there. I was a little bit sad that Turtle Boy went down so easy, but I mean, a lot of the Maniwako have gone down very easy, so don't really know what I'm saying there. I just thought the doll metaphor of the whole episode was pretty on the nose. But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it. It's a very obvious one. I think where the hidden depth is, as I said in the ED, is how that metaphor can be applied to different people. Don't forget the dish metaphor with the guy they were staying with as well. Don't forget that. Other than that, pretty by the book episode, I would say. I do have a couple of things here. So we have the translation for Bito Kanzashi, which turned into Biorigo. Biorigo, which I may translate as well now that I'm here. Which, I mean, Biorigo, I've got nothing. Okay, interesting. Biori is a female given name. Weird, that took me down a rabbit hole about looking up what non-Biori means as well, which is a weird spin on non-Biri, which means carefree. And something about good weather as well. I was just reading Reddit, so who knows what they're saying over there, those crazy kooks. Either way, I'll translate Bito Kanzashi, because that's the one I actually have up, which is, there's the Sai in it somewhere. I don't know where we're getting Sai. Because, okay, the translation as on Wikipedia is Sai the minute, right? The small, I don't really get the small of it either, like the doll aspect, I guess. But Sai means hairpin, which we talk about at certain moments in the episode as well. Again, the hairpin's more its like character design, right? It's based off, the traditional Japanese dress, and they put the hairpin in the hair to keep it up and that kind of thing. I think that's where we're getting that from. Again, I'm being very non-helpful here because I've also got up the location. It says it's Lake Fuyo, which I don't believe exists, which is in Edo. And Edo is Tokyo, or was Tokyo back in the day. So somewhere in the Tokyo region, there was a lake, and that lake is a first-class disaster zone. That's what I'm seeing here. Of course, Tokyo being just up the coastline, or pretty far up the coastline actually, from Nagoya, which is modern-day Owari. Either way, at the very least, we'll have a new opening to look at, where if I can click the right thing in OBS. There we go. It is an interesting spot for the story overall. Because we're at episode 8, that means 4 left. There's 4 episodes left of Katanagatari. Essentially, okay, so it started off with Sabi Hakuhei, who was the strongest in Japan, and then we defeated Nanami, who was the next strongest in Japan. It kind of leaves us in a really weird spot. I mean, we're building up Ho-Ho and Amon Zaimon to be pretty strong characters that we're going to need to fight at some point and find a way through there. And with the kind of a big bad on the horizon being Haite as well because of the rivalry there, but I don't think that's going to go the way we think it's going to go, if Missio sends anything to go by. It's a very weird spot. You could have predicted at the start of the show that it would be Sabi Hakuhei you would be fighting around now. Long dead. Nanami was the next off the block. Now she's dead as well. It is a weird spot. It's not conventional for sure. As a result of last episode, right, and a pretty serious player going down, I guess it does make sense that this episode is comparatively more low-key, right? Funny joke to start the episode, you see this gaudy mansion that's heavily decorated compared to the others, calling the person that owns it a blowhard. You see the colors, you see the purples and the yellows and the lighter colors there, and it all comes together when she walks into frame. I wonder whose house this is, right? Yeah, just a good gag to start the episode. Very enjoyable. And then, yeah, new opening. I said before that this episode had some Tatami Galaxy vibes. I got it almost immediately here as well with this kind of stuff. Looks like the Tatami Galaxy ED. And I guess I have lyrics too now that I think about it. So we meet again, guess I'm out of luck. The words I put together spill down from my lips like withering petals. There's a lot of petals imagery and falling leaves and that kind of stuff here. I'm wondering if that's tropey or has a little bit more meaning. Of course, we've got the whole environmental vegetation theme to which Shichika has going on as well. So there's something in that. Very pretty visuals. I love the colors here. Everyone can touch the truth that resides in me. Just like the falling cherry blossom petals, it's time to bid farewell to this world. Even so, my parents gave me this life, therefore I shall cherish my body. Interesting in the context of the both of you, following a parental lineage, I guess. Also like this moment, kind of pulling each other closer under the stars there, showing their relationships becoming closer as well. Oh yeah, so those parental relationships, right, weighs harder than life itself. True, as we look back on our past and, you know, what we've done before and who we used to be. Looking down on me and laughing as kind of we look at this younger version of Nanami as well. Very, very interesting. With the petals still going, the flowers here being very reflective of her, and the whole weed metaphor and all that kind of stuff. Like our origins, where we started, that's what's being represented here, right? Looking back on them, have we changed? There is a clear barrier here. Are we looking back and then moving on, or are we reverting to our old ways, right? Again, as I've been saying, logic dictates that Togame and Shichika should be enemies, but they're not. I wonder if they're going to be enemies at the very end. My pain won't linger away, bring it on, as we have a look at Princess Haite. Prepare yourself. Sheath your sword back and watch Asura getting sliced asunder. Sure. This character here is very interesting. We see her in the preview for next week. There may be a little bit of a jealousy, envy plot going on with Togame here. I wonder if she's going to come onto Shichika, or Shichika's going to come onto her, or whatever. She's playing shogi. She's clearly very tactical. So, an interesting one to watch for next week. This cauldron called dream you have fallen screaming is your misery. What? This cauldron called dream you have fallen screaming is your misery. Don't really understand that one, but it is translated. Pan over the Maniwa. One quick look here at Ho as well. Going to be a big player here at some point, like anguish in the eyes, like missing the Maniwa core and all that kind of stuff. If your blood starts boiling when you see him, then my inamorato deliver the finishing blow. What is it? Inamorato. A person's male lover. Okay, then my husband. My partner, destroy him. Okay, deliver the finishing blow. As we see, you know, the female voice singing, we get conflicting shots between Togame and Haite. And then, of course, we have Amon Zaimon and Shichika fighting, if I can get a good frame of it. Right there. Look, they're going to fight at some point. It's going to be cool. Then the flower will fall like a bright star. And focusing on this motif, very similar to the start of the opening. Pretty cool opening. Not much on the song. I think it's just kind of fine. The lyrics are pretty good. And, I mean, dictates where we're going next with the plot, you would think. This Princess Haite plot is really taken over, right? So Togame's going to go to the castle and do some work, whatever that means. There have been some changes to the rules lately, so it's forbidden to take swords into the castle, starting the episode by dehumanizing him somewhat. Interesting. So yeah, maybe just doing it because she doesn't like him at this moment because he called the mansion gaudy as well. Okay, interesting. A lot more of the interesting stuff, I believe, is when we start looking around the house. It looks grim. It doesn't look like it's been lived in, doesn't look like it's been loved. You could almost see the house as a bit of a metaphor, right? Gaudy and over the top on the outside, but this looks similar to fucking Shichika's shack back on the island on the inside. Weird. Especially in comparison. Alright, so people's houses, their spaces, their rooms, reflections of their personality, right? So we see Haite's later on, which is adorned with stuff, and she's got this really fancy bed, and she's always in fancy clothes and stuff. Like, Togame may be, like, flashy on the outside, but on the inside there's something wrong, I think. Which is interesting. Interesting. Keeping an eye on it. There's lots of clues here for Togame development. So yes, we are keeping them in mind for sure. Especially in comparison to, like, I want to see what Haite's place looks on the outside. If it's almost like a mirror flip, where her house on the outside is nothing special, but when you go inside, it's a little bit more adorned. Specifically, this spot here looks like we've taken down some kind of shrine of some kind. Maybe to her father, to her parents, right? You were prepared for this journey, weren't you? So she's putting it all on the line, maybe? Like, she doesn't really have a place to go back to. This isn't set up like she's going to continue after the fact. It's set up like it's do or die. It's this or nothing else. Either way, Shichika decides to train in the backyard just for, shits and gigs. He says, short time no see, which probably has some kind of more clever Japanese translation, because it hasn't really been a long time since we've seen him. He was featured prominently in the previous episode. He also surprises Shichika when talking, right? So he moves in the shadows quite well. He is a ninja. He actually got the jump on Shichika, which doesn't happen very often. So there's something there as well about seeing him enter but not wanting to enter immediately as well, which was weird. So then Shichika assumes that he wants Togame and says that she isn't here. It's like, no, that's why I'm here, right? Also corrects Shichika when he says Princess whatever instead of Princess Haite. Clearly respects Princess Haite a lot, doesn't want anybody to speak poor of her in any aspect, ever, basically. So Princess Haite wanted to pass along some information about the swords. As we know right now, we have basically no leads. So she's going to pass off here's some information, go get it. However, obviously, we didn't want to go see her because we're mortal enemies, right? So why'd you say, is that right? Like you were going to appear. Now I have to go. You signed me up for a social obligation. Yeah, look at the disdain on her face. She really doesn't like Haite. She really is a thorn in my side. No, a rock or an asteroid. No, beyond that. She starts to fucking go Super Saiyan. And then, yeah, straight into the scene. Clearly don't like each other. Princess Haite starts the conversation by laughing at her, like, immensely. We also didn't get an establishing shot of the outside, but from memory, it wasn't as lavish as Togame's house anyway. And then, yeah, this is what I mean. Very, very big contrast here. As we see in the back, there's this supposed sword as well. We're laughing at the haircut. I think the haircut's cute. Apparently, it makes her look like a Kiku doll, which, again, doll theme in the episode. I don't know what the ... part is about. If you don't know the dolls she's talking about, they're the really creepy ones with the bob haircuts. Not a big fan of dolls, but I digress. I guess here we'll just talk about a doll metaphor overall. A doll is something that is inhuman, doesn't possess self-control, is controlled by others, is controlled by forces outside of themselves. Almost like a puppet, right? Somebody has the hand inside of them moving them for them, right? What else is a human sword but a puppet? In the past, Shichika has compared himself to such a doll, right? Think about early episodes, killing why do I always forget his name? Ginkaku and Meisai and all these characters basically in cold blood just because Togame said so. There was more to the conflicts than that, and we're learning things as we're going, but compared to now, he's way more sympathetic of who he kills, thinking about it way more, doing it for the right reasons. In retrospect, episodes like 5 and 6 are huge in this regard. They represent a turning point where he is turned out of this thing, right? Okay, so now we think about our overall theme coming through of family baggage, of our kind of next generation up before us in conflict. Do we have to continue to be puppeted by such things, or can we act independently? Like, do I need to hold on to this grudge against Haite that's probably existed for a very long time? Probably not. I'm probably still a doll even in that regard, being controlled. You like to think that you're the puppeteer. And then, of course, relating that to Amon Zaimon as well, who is very, very happy still being a puppet, right? Where Shichika, in comparison, may be dulling his blade by getting a few more of these human qualities. Not to mention this in comparison to Kiki. Oh my god, Shikazaki Kiki? Something like that. His stupid swords and Biurigo, right? Who he modeled on somebody that he loved. Again, the doll master relationship there and love involved. Is that love between Amon Zaimon and Haite? Is it love between Shichika and Togame? I don't know. Again, that's the main conceit of the episode, just so we don't need to go through it again. I think the Shichika stuff's pretty obvious. When we start to bring in Amon Zaimon and Togame and Family Legacy in it, it grows a little bit more and has a bit more legs to it. Pardon the pun with the four-legged doll. Later in the episode. One thing I noticed, Togame here is very calm in the face of being teased by, or at least initially, by Haite, right? If the same thing was happening from you, I think you would flirt a little bit more or get a little bit more mad. Like, you don't care about her, you care about him. That's what I'm getting at. The thing she actually cares about is the Cheerio Chesto thing as well. Just checking that she also knew that she was saying the wrong thing, so it's super mega embarrassing now. And yeah, if you need a demonstration of two characters in conflict, there you go. That's your bread and butter. I guess you could almost say that later in the episode, when I thought Togame was acting really out of character, I thought she was acting very similarly to Haite. Like, I think they bring out the worst in each other. It's almost very similar to this scene. Like, it's almost like it's a challenge. Hey, go to this lake, go to Byurigo, take her out, see what you can do. Like, she's egoing it by sending the corpse back as well, without the swords. Like that'll show you I did it, when in reality you're probably still playing into her hands. I think, yeah, there's a lot of ego in this for Togame and trying to one-up Haite. And again, bringing out the worst in her, channeling some of that in that interaction with Shichika later in the episode. Of course, very funny moment here too, the immense amount of standing on her toes that she needs to do to raise herself up to Haite's standards. And it's like, oh yeah, and so now the greeting's out of the way, and it's like, huh, there was a greeting? Yeah, it's just what the relationship between these two is like. Again, almost keeping her cool the entire time until Shichika bows to Haite as well. Like, don't bow your head to this woman. More and more contrast between Shichika and Amon Zaimon. Amon Zaimon, he lives in the ceiling. He lives in the dark. Nowhere around all these adornments. He isn't an equal to me. I hide his face with a mask because his face is super gloomy, apparently. Yeah, not an equal, less than me, demoted to just the sword. Almost like how Shichika was in the very start of the show, without all the development. Last of his kind, too, right? The rest of his clan got wiped out. Shichika's was almost the last of his kind as well, outside of Nanami, of course. Yeah, lots and lots and lots of similarities. There will be more content here. Yeah, I never made Shichika do anything that dumb, wear a mask, put him in the roof, and then he's like, huh? Yeah, you did. And then, yeah, trying to keep a straight face and keep her on side. But then relaxing eventually, too. Great. Collecting swords would be impossible for Amon Zaimon, too, and then we see him smirk. So, huh? I don't understand what that's about. I mean, you've already got a sword in your possession that we don't know about, so sure. Maybe he collected that and, like, he knows that she's lying, so he smirked? Sure. So Shikizaki Kiki, he had this place at a lake. This is what Haite's saying. It was his workshop, essentially, right? It's a first-class disaster area at the moment because there's a fucking stupid doll roaming the place, but that's where his, like, workshop is. So if you want more like leads and stuff, that's a good place to go. We end the episode without any leads still, but we're still looking for the workshop, so that'll be interesting. I wonder if we'll show us getting the leads or just imagine we have them. So the Lake Fuyo lead is also verified by Hoho's words in episode, whatever it was, 5? Was one of them. When they first started that alliance, we agree to have Amon Zaimon be our guide, but just before we leave, we shout at this weird iron-shaped thing that's on the mantle. I'm a man in current years, so I know that these are guns, but obviously they wouldn't know. I don't know if they're guns that are actually going to, like, shoot people. That'd be funny. Sword versus gun. So Togame's the first one to bring up that thing on the mantelpiece, right? The gun. It doesn't match the rest of the aesthetic of the room, which is correct. Was it a gift? Maybe, from Amon Zaimon. Before we leave, we have one final look. Now, I was being a little bit naive. I thought that Shichika may have just been looking at Haite and getting the hots, which I think that's what Togame thinks he's doing as well. But I think he's looking here. He's very curious. He's like, I feel something, but I'm not sure. That's what I think's happening. Like, almost using that encounter as a test of Shichika's ability to identify swords as well. Very short scene here as well. Basically, we send Turtle Man to go get sword. That's all we really need to get out of this. Another really funny moment here that deserves shouting out. The kind of Togame's legs getting sore. Normally I'd piggyback her or fireman carry her or something, right? Like he always has. But Amon Zaimon's here, so I want to put on a good face in case he reports it back to Haite. It's like, well, he's in front, so I don't want to do anything like this. I guess this adds more to Amon Zaimon's observational skills as well, considering that the exact right moment he turns around and catches them in the act. Oh, look at these two. Look how weak she is. It's almost like she's a child, like a doll, right? And the smirk. Loves a smirk. We try to talk with Amon Zaimon here, but he doesn't really give us much. He enjoys the overwork from Haite. He reveals that he used to be a ninja, but it's also just all needless concern. I'm just doing my job. I'm not thinking about anything I'm doing. I'm just following Haite's orders. I didn't worry about protecting the princess because their sole enemy is right here in front of me. I'm keeping check on them. We finally arrive at the lake, and then Amon Zaimon disappears in like a frame because he's a ninja. And maybe he even senses Turtle Man at this point too. Togame tries to be cute and says, "Finally, it's just the two of us." And then Shichika like says the worst line possible. It's like, "Huh? What do you mean?" So funny. Again, Amon Zaimon gone. We're immediately back to the piggyback as well. It's not long before we find the doll in question, Biorigo. Shoutouts to the animation during this point. Also, the music this episode was killer. I guess the aesthetics are carrying, where the rest of the story is kind of just fine. It's just fine this episode. Obviously, it has something in its system that identifies if something is a human or not, because we see it later and it says human and attacks. Sees a rat, doesn't really care about the rat. Or I guess it's a mouse, but whatever. Love the animation on the doll, as I've shouted at before. Very doll-like. Moves its head first, then its body, then its legs, then it can't move all the limbs at the same time unless it's in like battle mode. Very video gamey as well. It gives me Lies of P, that game. It gives me a little bit of that. I almost got one eye one color and one eye another color, similar to Togame as well. Here's the hairpins in question. And yeah, I mean, there's some similarities here to basically all the characters in the show, if you really wanted to squint and find them. We discover very quickly that Byorgo itself is Bito Kanzashi, the sword of this episode, and we must defeat her and collect her, essentially. So Turtle Boy basically... he says he's not going to do the thing, which is the Maniwa guy shows up and then dies, but he does the thing. He's the long-lived one, but also the short-lived one, and also a sea turtle, and also he's got a western sword, and also, he puts on a face early, but changes at a certain point in the fight as well, but then realizes he's been outclassed by Amon Zaimon and just kind of dies. It is probably the weakest part of the episode. I don't really know what they were doing here. Like, would it hurt us that much to let this character pop off a little bit more? They're just kind of lame. Turtle Boy, you're kind of lame. I guess it's a power scaling thing for Amon Zaimon. Amon Zaimon's very important, so keep an eye on him instead. There's some fun stuff with the animation too. He's fun-ish. He's putting on a face right now when in actuality he's baiting him, but it doesn't work. So what's the point? They're obviously building up Ho-Ho as important. Oshidori seems strong. Penguin's fine. Penguin's Penguin. I hope he doesn't die brutally. But yeah, I don't know. Just kind of a missed opportunity here. Also, we talk about something called Entor Jur here. Jur, which may be a sword later on. So maybe you are going for a different sword and you're protecting that sword? Okay. I thought you were going to the same sword that was on the lake, but maybe not. Interesting. Yeah, he puts on a face here. I'm going to Shinano for the soba or whatever. I'm here 30% for the sword, 70% for my own enjoyment. Ha ha ha. And then sword. It would have been a good moment if it amounted to anything, but it just kind of didn't. He just got beat by Amon Zaimon, who I guess reveals that he was a ninja, or still is. And that the Maniwa Corps took out his family, so he has like some kind of personal vendetta against the Maniwa Corps, but he's not acting upon it. It's just because Princess Haite wants him to do this at this point. It's just a weird spot where their stuff aligns. Unless he's working outside of Haite's jurisdiction right now. So this is the innkeeper guy. So essentially he's like, oh, this place used to be popping off, but it kind of hasn't for ages since the lake's been kind of destroyed and nobody comes here because it's a disaster zone. So what business do you have with that junk pile anyway? We don't really tell him what we're doing, but he shows off his special plate. It looks like it's a legitimate, worthwhile plate to own as well. Gets kind of what's the word? On Antiques Roadshow. She's doing an Antiques Roadshow on it right now and says that it's actually valuable. Valuation, there you go. So what are we going to do with it, right? This plate is valuable. It's inherently valuable. It's precious. Are we going to put it somewhere where it looks like it's precious? Or are we going to hide it in plain sight? So, this can mean multiple things. You can apply it to the swords. Is there a sword that we've seen somewhere that is hiding in plain sight? Think about it. Very, very obviously, the gun that's sitting in Haite's room. If you were going to hide something, you wouldn't hide it somewhere in your like important jewelry box thing. You'd hide it in plain sight. But also, I think it works for characters that may say one thing on the box, but are actually very special. Amon Zymon, for example, right? May say on the box that merely he's just the bodyguard of Haite or whatever, but he's actually got this whole big, awesome backstory to him, right? Again, something precious being used as the food bowl for something else. Even maybe Haite as the cat in this kind of Amon Zymon bowl metaphor. You can apply it lots of different places. I think the most overt, as I said, is the gun, but applying it to characters gives you some stuff as well. Yeah, see? But use it as that cat's milk saucer. It'll be safer. It may degrade it, though, so I don't know, watch out for that, but I get what she's saying. Again, very obvious because we pan from that scene right to the guns, but then we pan from the guns right to Amon Zymon as well and continue this scene, where basically he just starts to take over, originally in the, bear with me here because it's 4 vowels in a row, Aioi core. Aioi core. Yeah, it was a core that was destroyed many years ago by the Maniwa core, 170 to be exact, and seems very strong. It's essentially teleport behind you spell. And then yeah, the long-lived Umigami does not live for very long. He gets taken out very quickly. We learn here that Amon Zymon also knows about Ho-Ho, whatever that means. Ho-Ho, we kind of barely saw him fight before, but he took out 4 blokes very easily. I think he's very strong. I think that's what we're building up. Yeah, no real mention here of avenging clan or anything. Seems like it's really just for the benefit of Haite. Now, because this sword was called Kanzashi, right, I thought it would be like Zokoto Yuroi. It would be a sword in the shape of a hairpin, right? Because Zokoto Yuroi means armor, essentially, right? So, like, why isn't it the thing it says it is? It's more related to the doll itself. Yeah, you should avoid making things too similar as well. A little fourth wall break too. If I call a sword a hairpin, it doesn't always mean it's going to be a hairpin, guys. Another really direct, overt reference to Shichika being similar to Byurigo, right? Think of you how you're a kind of a fusion between a human and a sword. They're a fusion between a doll and a sword, right? So again, make your connections. Shichika begins asking questions about Princess Haite now that Amon Zymon's gone as well. Like that these two are rivals and they don't really like each other, and that she may have been thwarted before, but she keeps on crawling back. Sounds kind of like you. I think you two are more similar than you're letting on. And like very quickly turns on him too, right? You seem very interested in her after you compared the two. You two sound similar. No, we're not. Also, you're very interested in her. Like immediately turning it on him, right? Doesn't like to hear that they're similar. Like, really overreacting here. Really doesn't want to talk about how similar the two of them are, I don't think. No, I'm only interested insofar as she's interested, or you're interested in her, right? She's your arch enemy, so I'm thinking that we may have to fight at some point. I'm sizing up Amon Zymon as a result. And then, yeah, a bit of revenge for the whole jealousy thing. The jealousy thing may be continuing into the next episode. They even fourth wall break a little bit here about the Maniwa, saying that they're probably playing the underdog somewhere around here. I think this is the outside of Haite's house as well, so when we look inside, way more gaudy. Again, there's a difference there, and a compare and contrast between Haite and Togame. Amon Zymon wakes her up in the night to tell her that he did his job, essentially. I guided Togame and Kyotoru to the destination, and then dealt with one of the Maniwa core. I did what you wanted. And then you're late. Not a thank you, right? Like, this should have been done quicker, but he still smirks. Is he just a pervert? Does he like that? Maybe. At a previous scene, I think Haite may have implied that the Maniwa are small fry and we don't really need to worry about them. This is provably not true and will continue to be not true. Clearly she's changed her mind here. We wonder if he actually identified that Byurigo is actually the sword here, but couldn't identify the one that's in the room. And then we're kind of like cat and mousing. Did she know that, that Byurigo was the sword, and was she testing us? Well, yeah, she was probably testing us, and she did know, right? But we also failed the other test that she did, which was the sword was in the room already.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm following along. There's also this part here, like the evil eyes and the evil laugh, where she's like, maybe I'll steal all her credit too. Ha 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 ha. Like, these two are scheming. I think they bring out the worst in each other, and that's what we're trying to get across with, like, evil Togami this episode. Like, if they didn't identify this one, maybe they didn't identify Biorigo, maybe they died to Biorigo, maybe Togame will be disgraced, maybe we could steal all their credit, maybe she'll slice her own stomach open. They're just eviling out. They're eviling out crazy. So first things first, we're going to gather a bunch of data. Another cute scene here where, like, you're acting as her shade, but then you need to keep moving around so you can't be her shade. Like, we need to finish the map before he can engage the doll. Like, he says, oh yeah, I'm ready to go and attack. No, stop. Don't do that yet. Another super quick scene here where it's just like, okay, there's only 3 of us left, and I'm going to imagine that Princess Haite is involved. Sure. I identified this shot in the moment as well, like she's looking very doll-like here, sitting on the lap. It's almost like he's playing with her. We've also established the map here. If I get a good shot of it, it shows basically Burigo's route as well as the lake itself. Yeah, there we go, if you needed a visual example to go along with it, which means that Shikizaki Kiki's house or whatever is probably in the middle here. Like the doll in this metaphor giving him the order to hug her as well, which is interesting. Also, yeah, we've got a plan for Biorigo, but this first plan doesn't go very well. This first plan is dig a hole. We're going to dig a big hole. Shichika can't act as her sun shield anymore, so she gets her own. We're going to do like a Looney Tunes pitfall for it. Because we know it has a set route, it may just, step on it and, fall and die. But no, it's a little bit better than that and uses its fancy dancy legs to jump over. Again, it's still sunbathing. And this is a really beautiful shot, right? Like, it's not paying attention to us, it's looking off into the sun almost longingly. You can have seen this as kind of a tear as well. I'm feeling some kind of connection here between Kiki's creation and this, right? This reflecting his love or unrequited love for this lady, and this, being left for this robot. This doll, right? There's something in that, I think. It also has a practical use. It's solar powered, so it stops and becomes powered for a bit. But I also think there's an emotional weight to the scene. Shichika expresses his worries out loud here, in contrast to something like episode 5, where he lets them fester a little bit and doesn't really communicate with Togame. He says, this might be like Konayuki. Maybe because Kyotoru is meant to be used against humans, it may just have a 1-up on me, right? It may just be better. Or it may have no tactics at all, and I may not be able to read anything. This is when Togame's acting like super fucking evil and smug and stuff. So, like, about her schemes and whatever. I think Haite's being a bad influence here. That's what I think the scene's meant to accomplish. Yeah, look at this. Full of that gusto, but also kind of evil. Maybe that rivalry with Haite is going to spur on some Act 3 stuff for you, right? Some climactic feelings. Like, you may feel like you want to dominate Shichika, when in reality you see each other as equals a little bit more than that relationship. Yeah, I'm not letting you sleep tonight as well, which is like meant to be like a sexual thing, but it's not. Just read up on these tactics. Few things we notice. It is an overcast day, it cannot absorb more light. Maybe we're waiting for an overcast day. The soundtrack fucking bangs. It reminds me of Neo Automata, and that is the biggest compliment that something can get. But essentially from here, the rest of the episode, I think, falls kind of flat. It's kind of like you reasserting your humanity and your capacity for beating the old you, which is what the doll represents. And I guess more like plot-centric logic stuff is that, hey, it's running out of energy. We're draining its battery right now by letting Kyotoru fight for long enough. There's some cute stuff here about trust and whatever, but other than that, it's just kind of like a scene. The action's pretty good, though. Again, we've got that same command as well. Make sure you don't harm the doll, don't harm the sword itself. Like, don't damage my property. Yeah, it's got a ton of cool attacks, like the whirlwind and the helicopter later on. It's very well animated, the doll. Of course, the biggest surprise here being the scream, the sword that comes out of the mouth. We have a I believe in you Shichika from Togame as well, which is kind of like, riling him up. It's getting him inspired, right? It also culminates later on with the I believe in you, Togame. I believe in your schemes. That's why, yeah, it's a mutual thing. There's an equalness to it, as not perceived in Amon Zaimon stuff. Now, interesting stuff here from the father. I am a sword. You are also a sword. There is no meaning to a sword that doesn't cut. That is the first thing you must keep in mind. All you need to be is a sharp sword.
just like I was. That's all you need to be, right? What do you mean you'll understand one day? I understand what my father was saying now. I don't think you truly do. So I'm envisioning a bit of a backstory here where you were essentially in the control of the shogunate. You were one of the shogunate's best weapons, right? When he said, hey, you go defeat rebellion, you did it and didn't think of any of the emotional consequences there. Maybe in that moment you grew a little bit more of a conscience, right? And you were only exiled because these feelings came through and that the shogunate didn't like it. And for that reason, now we're trapped on this island and, you now have to, Shichika, right? You have to be just a sword. You don't have to think about any of this other stuff, right? Because if you do, you may end up being tossed aside like I was. I think there's some kind of immense tragedy there. There's a sunset. He doesn't look that chuffed about the situation. There's more to that than what we're perceiving right now. Of course, Shichika wouldn't know any of the nuance because he was a kid at the time. Again, the contrast here, Shichika is believing in the plans of Togame, and Togame is believing in Shichika. There's a mutualness to this. You're not simply just letting one party do all the work. You're fighting with purpose. This doll is fighting just because it was told to, because it had one lasting command from its master. Again, he's saying the themes here. I saw myself in you. I was just merely defeating everybody, but as a sword with no will of my own, I wasn't able to defeat Nechan. I needed to grasp a will of my own to do such a thing. I see you as anything but a sword, Byorigo, but you see me as a human. So again, like Ningen, the doll identifies humans and identifies a human when fighting Kyotoru. That's another reinforcing of the human. He's more human than sword. You know what I mean? That's a cool twist. I didn't pick that up. That's cool. Again, the fight's just going kind of crazy here. It's a war of attrition, as I've said. He's sweating it out. Togame, I obey your orders because I believe you, but then it turns into a fucking helicopter, which is weird. Zephyr Swordstorm, which is a fucking cool name. Like, we didn't see this coming, but it must be running out of energy now. This is essentially its kind of like final huzzah. Again, Togame, I believe you. I obey you of my own free will, even if this body is broken. I will protect you. That's what I've decided. Little blush here on Togame as well. And because I believe in your plan, not because you ordered me to, but because I decided as a human to follow you, to believe you, to think your plans are good. And then super blush. I may be a sword, but at the same time I'm human. And at this moment, kind of the puppet itself, the doll, starts leaning out of the air. It's running out of energy. I love rushing in to catch it so it doesn't get destroyed even more. You did a good job, Strategian, right? Like looking at that eye too. The single tear coming out of the doll as well. Maybe it's a little bit more human than we thought. Even if it was just the rain, we perceived it. Like, there's a larger metaphor going on here. Him holding the corpse of something that he used to be. There's a moving on, even though it's sad. We must. Character progress. So kind of this shared belief in each other was the reason why they were successful. And again, as I've said, the energy ran out, and that was the original plan from the start. I believed in your plan, Togame, even if you didn't tell me the details. And I believed in you, Shichika, that your body could withstand the attacks for as long as it took. Shichika says here that he feels kind of bad for it. Initially, Togame kind of scolds him for that, saying it's just a sword, but again, if anybody's going to have sympathy for a sword, it's going to be Shichika. Again, saying some teary goodbyes, putting its eyes down like it's an actual human. And then some cute flirting from the two of these two to close out the episode. Actually, no, I think there's a little bit of Princess Haite before we leave. So in a pure ego move, we have we have Togame sending the corpse, the sword itself, right, to Haite with a report saying, this is what we did it, haha, sucked in. We bring up in the report, or Haite does, that, again, the whole lover thing with Kiki, right? And the reason why he made this sword. And then Amon Zaimon's like, that isn't funny. So maybe he loves Haite? Maybe? And just thinks this is the best way of going about it? Like that desperate in love? Anyway, weird one. But then he still smiles upon getting scolded. We're saying there's a sword in Tendo. Also, there's a weird part where it's like, man, she works... Haite says, man, she works Shichika really hard. And then it pans to Amon Zaimon smiling. It's like, yeah, you work him hard too. You don't even see that? That's funny. Oto Nokogiri is this sword in Tendo as well that we'll look into. Also, we're sending Amon Zaimon to find Maniwa Hoho and fight him, which will be a very interesting fight. I wonder who will win there. Either way, we end the episode like
hey, we're digging holes. We find gold bars, but we don't really even want to use them. And yeah, like I mean, we're gonna dig here for a while and look for some more clues. Maybe that'll lead us to the same location. Maybe that'll lead us to the lady that's in the preview at the very end. We also have a unique ED here. Speak not, unspeaking shadow. Dare you sleep with such treasures in your chest? So, like, if that isn't about the doll, then what's that about, I guess? I mean, chest is still like a heart, so you could see it like that way. But anyway, I digress. The body riven comes alive, perfume of the juniper, a mist upon it. Remember, form leads man to ruin, leave the path and find peace. That's very spiritual, sure. How I loathe puppet strings as they are unseen, tear them from their post and fly alone. Very interesting. I've talked a lot about puppet strings this episode too. Dance not, undancing shadow, a fairy tale of what has long passed. Speak not, unspeaking shadow, dare you sleep with such treasures in your chest. Bring us to an end there on our little ED song. Very, very cool. And then we've got a preview. I want to get a good shot of this one character. Bit of a shogi theme coming through there as well. Yeah, this. What's this all about? Some kind of envy plot, you would think, for Togame. Her asserting her love for Shichika in turn. Or maybe this is just bait. I don't know. We've already had in the series a preview that was just complete bait. So maybe it is. I don't know. Either way, that was episode. As I say every week, episode better on rewatch, so yay. But still a relatively more simple one, I would say. It was good though. I enjoyed myself. Looking forward to next week and what Togame may think of certain things, and watching this Haite Amon Zaimon thing evolve, and whatever the hell is going on with the Maniwa. Like that, lots of stuff to follow in the show now as we lead towards our last third of it. Yeah, let's say that. Either way, just some sure stuff before I go. So if you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I could do to improve my presentation. Comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you'd like me to follow you back, in the Discord. Join Discord, love Discord, Discord. And I will be back next week for more Katanagatari goodness. Just say my goodbyes. Cheerio. Goodbye. Ciao. Everything else in between. Thanks for being here.